Here we are, folks, ready to make a simple mead. It's not the way I usually make mead. This one uses bread yeast. I usually don't do that. It's a little bit dark around me. I realize that. It's my phone. It's not your computer, whatever you're watching this on. So here we go. Let's make mead together. I really should have warmed up the honey because then it mixes better with the water. I'll dump this quart in here. Into our bucket, I've sanitized the fermenting bucket. I've got some tea right here, some black tea. I use decaffeinated black tea. And I'll get out my funnel again and I'll put that hot tea in there. Woo! Here it goes. It'll warm up my honey just a little bit too. So I'll be able to mix it and get it blended, and then I'll add the water. Okay, that was our hot tea in that one. We're going to do our hot tea in this one now. Easy in the bucket, isn't it? Now, since it's warm or hot tea, now we mixed it in with cool honey, but hopefully that will blend a little bit. See that? It's all melded together. That's good. That's what I want to see. All right, now we got to get this one blended together. I'm going to do it this way. I can tell that it's not at all blended in there. Hopefully the warmth from that tea will soften the honey. I can see it starting to blend though. All this would have been done in 1/4 of the time. If I had heated up the water, I could have left it in a quart jar. Like I would have poured the honey in, warmed up the honey for 1 minute in the microwave, poured that in, warm honey, and then put my water in my quart jar where the honey was, and do 1 quart at a time. So I'd do 4 quarts, but each quart I would heat up in the microwave for about a minute. I would heat up that water, and so we'd have warm honey and warm water, and they would have mixed. I wouldn't take warm water out of the tap because that's from your water heater. You don't want to drink that. But warm honey mixed with warm water the warm water you just heated up in the microwave, that would have blended together very quickly. Now it's all blended. I don't see any gel in there, just a little bit of patience and swirling. It's all blended nicely. Now I can add my water. I might just add half of the water so that I have more room to blend things inside that pail. There, I'll add just half of the water. And this is well water, by the way. We don't want to use tap water from like a city water system where they add chlorine. We wouldn't want that. I use well water, or you could buy spring water or something like that. I think that's good enough. And we'll swirl that to get it all mixed together nicely. I want to mix that honey and water all together. And we also like to introduce air into the must. Oxygen introduced into the must is a good thing at this point in the brewing process. But when we get totally fermented, then we do not want to introduce oxygen into the must or into the mead at all. Later in the fermentation process, once it's complete, we do all we can to keep the oxygen out of the fermentation process. And we're ready for raisins. Now we're going to put about 50 to 100 in there. I'm not counting. This adds tannic acid, just like the tea did. This adds tannic acid. This isn't yeast nutrients. You might read that it adds yeast nutrients. Not so. It's tannic acid and some flavor, I'm sure, too. 90, 100. Great. Let's do them in here. There's a 10, 90, and 100. Perfect, right on 100 every time. This is orange peel. So we will add the orange peel to the glass. Gotta remember that, help me remember that. I've got a soup spoon here. I figure about a teaspoon or a soup spoon worth, maybe a little less than that. I don't like it too citrusy. Be nice to have a funnel right now, wouldn't it? Let's see if we can do this without our funnel. Yes, I sanitized the spoon. Ooh, we're doing good. This is lemon, dried lemon peels. Into this one. Great. That smells pretty lemony. Amazing. Smells like lemon. Okay, what's next, folks? Let's swirl this in there. Get the peels in there nicely. Good. Get a nice swirl. Okay, you guys mix in there nice. Beautiful. It's time for the yeast. And we don't rehydrate this yeast like we do in a normal mead that I would make. This is Fleischmann's active dry bread yeast. We're just gonna pour it on in. And then there it goes, right on top. We're gonna swirl that in, get it all out of there, and swirl it in. Good. Here we go. Pouring in the yeast. Good. Looks like it all came out of the packet. And we're gonna swirl that in. Nice. I think we did it. We just need to add the rest of the water. We'll bring it right up to the shoulders and a little bit into the neck. There we go. That's good enough for me right there, because if we get any active fermentation that bubbles up, it's going to go right up into the airlock. I would like to stir this up with my sanitized spoon. I'm going to stir this all up. Good. All right, here we go. Cover up tight, let her rip. Let it burp a little in case it's got a little pressure in there. Nice, letting it burp again. I think we're ready for our airlock. So I'm going to cover this. I've got a cover with a hole in it for an airlock. And up here we're going to put an airlock as well. And I will write down what we did. Right, we got orange peels in this one and lemon peels in that one. I'm going to write it down and I'm going to stick a label right to the mead container so that we know what the specific gravity is, as well as like which one has the orange peels, which one has the lemon peel. So I'm going to pour some of this into here to check the gravity. Here we go. See if I can do it without spilling. Checking the gravity. I always spin it to keep from bubbles attaching to the hydrometer and raising it up to a level that would not be accurate. So I can see where it is on there. So it's 1.080. 1.080. That's what we got to write down for this one. Airlock, I sanitized it. Putting that thing right into that stopper, right into the hole. Carefully so as not to crack the lid where it enters. I will put this part right on there. Add a little water, about up to the line on the airlock. Adding water. Good. Oop, a little bit more maybe. Not much more. Nice. Put the lid on the airlock. Put a little bit of water in here. Right up to the line, not beyond it. Ooh, there's no line on that one. I know about how high do I want it though. Right there. Good. A little less than halfway, or halfway is good. We're good. All right, guys, time to look at the ear locks. Watch them. This is the fun part. Did you see that bubble? Another one. Another one over there. Keep another one. Saw one there. Bubble. It's just fun to watch. That's a sign that fermentation has started. This is less than 24 hours later from what we did yesterday. There's not a long lag time when it comes to dry bread yeast. So the lag time is the time it takes between mixing or pitching the yeast and the start of fermentation. That lag time is very short with the bread yeast. So I had fermentation beginning already within hours yesterday, but now we got a good fermentation going. I can see bubbles rising. You can see how high the foam came in the neck of the bottle. That's why I didn't fill it any fuller than I did. In fact, I was a little bit concerned that it would come up through the airlock and make a mess, so I put the fermentation container into a bowl like this to catch whatever overflow might have occurred. Fortunately, there was no overflow. It came very close, within an inch of the top, and that was it. Now it's starting to settle a little bit. What you see is just some residual, but the actual must level is down a ways. It's down right there. So, but I got good bubbling happening. Just watch those airlocks. It's so nice. And it's fun to see. It's a sign that the yeast is eating the sugars in the must, and it's burping out alcohol and carbon dioxide. The alcohol stays in the must, the carbon dioxide comes out and through the airlock. That's the release of carbon dioxide that you're seeing.